It wasn't meant for the cameras. It wasn't part of the official protocol. But now, whispers from inside Parliament suggest Kate Middleton was crowned in a covert ceremony, one that could change royal history forever. The story begins, not in the grand halls of Buckingham Palace, but deep within the ancient walls of the House of Lords, where history has always been forged in silence. According to a high-level source, what unfolded that day wasn't just a royal briefing or a routine formality. No, it was something far more symbolic and far more dangerous to reveal. A symbolic crowning of Catherine, Princess of Wales, took place in utter secrecy. No media outlets were invited to witness, no public announcements made. And yet within those solemn chambers, Kate reportedly stood wearing a crown not seen since Queen Elizabeth's private years. One she kept hidden from the public eye, but cherished in private moments. A crown that wasn't meant to be worn until the time was right. And it seems that time may have arrived. The leak, dismissed initially as another royal rumor, gained traction when corroborated by not one but two aides connected to the Privy Council. They spoke of a gathering held under the guise of a constitutional review, attended by senior royals, influential lords, and select advisors loyal not to tradition, but to the monarchy's survival. The message was clear. King Charles's health was declining, and with the public growing weary of Queen Camilla's presence, it was time to prepare the woman the people already viewed as their true Queen Kate. And yet the secrecy of this symbolic coronation is what makes it so explosive. Because if true, it represents not just succession planning, but a radical departure from royal tradition. Symbolic coronations, rare and steeped in history, were once used to secure loyalty during wartime, or when a monarch's fate was uncertain. By invoking this ancient custom, the royal family may have been sending a powerful message, that Catherine is not only being groomed, she's being anointed. The implications are enormous. Did King Charles sanction this? Was Prince William the raidery driving force? Or was this the work of Parliament laying the foundation for a constitutional shift to preserve stability amid rising Republican sentiment? No official word has come from the palace, no comment from Clarence House, and Queen Camilla completely silent. But inside royal circles, the mood has shifted. Camilla's absence from recent high-profile events has only fueled speculation, with insiders claiming she was visibly upset after learning of the ceremony. Even more telling is the reaction from the international press. Coverage of Kate's every move has turned reverent. Headlines no longer refer to her as future queen. They now simply call her Queen Catherine. That subtle change in tone mirrored in Parliament whispers, private receptions, and foreign embassies suggests this wasn't an isolated event. It was the start of something much bigger. For the public still left in the dark, the truth may take time to unfold. But behind palace doors, the wheels are already in motion. What was once a symbolic gesture has become a seismic shift in royal power. And the woman at the center of it all? Calm, composed, and utterly unstoppable. But to grasp the weight of this event, we need to understand how royal power really flows through names, titles, and the silent battles behind them. It's not just a name, it's a throne's heartbeat. And Kate's titles have been quietly shifting for years. The public sees it as mere formality, an adjustment in wording, a change of address. But inside the walls of the monarchy, a title is never just a label. It's a carefully crafted message, a signal of hierarchy, power, and future intent. And when it comes to Kate Middleton, those signals have grown louder and more deliberate. From the moment she married Prince William, her royal trajectory was set in motion. She was first known as the Duchess of Cambridge, a noble title, yes, but one tied more to tradition than authority. Yet even then, those within the royal circle whispered that her future was far more significant than the title suggested. But after the death of Queen Elizabeth II, everything accelerated. Kate became the Princess of Wales, an emotionally charged title that hadn't been used since Diana. It wasn't just a historical callback. It was a direct inheritance of legacy, of expectation, and of public emotion. She also gained titles like Duchess of Cornwall and Duchess of Rathesay, used regionally, each one carrying weight in the Commonwealth. But the focus has remained on that one emblematic change, from Duchess to Princess of Wales, because in the language of monarchy, this was no accident. This was foreshadowing. Yet to understand where this is all headed, you must grasp the chilling precision of royal semantics. There is Queen Consort, the title given to the wife of a reigning king. There is Queen Regnant, a rare and true sovereign like Elizabeth II. And then there is simply the Queen, a designation that carries with it both ceremonial, reverence, and public recognition, regardless of technical rank. Camilla may hold the role officially, but Kate has begun to be called Queen by those who matter most, the people and the press. That shift didn't come with a crown. It came through calculated exposure, public engagement, and the slow but certain shifting of perception. Behind this subtle transformation is a team of seasoned royal advisors, well-versed in the art of shaping destiny through title. They know that by reinforcing these terms in the press, in speeches, and even in parliamentary discussion, the public is being quietly prepared. They're conditioning the next chapter of the monarchy. And if the rumors of the symbolic coronation are true, then these titles are more than ceremonial. They are armor for what's to come. Recent internal memos referred to her not as Catherine, Princess of Wales, but as Queen Catherine in early drafts. International media, particularly in Europe and the Commonwealth, have begun to do the same. These aren't editorial mistakes. They're intentional moves in a chess game of power, the kind that never needs to announce checkmate. Because by the time the crown hits the head, the people already believe it was there. But this didn't happen overnight. Kate's journey from outsider to monarch-in-waiting is the royal story of our generation. She wasn't born to wear the crown, but now even the crown itself seems to reach for her. When Catherine Elizabeth Middleton walked through the doors of St. Andrew's University, she didn't just walk into the path of Prince William. She stepped, unknowingly, into the undercurrent of a centuries-old dynasty, desperate for reinvention. Born to a middle-class family in Berkshire, raised without royal privilege or blue blood, Kate was everything the monarchy wasn't. Relatable, grounded, and untouched by palace politics. Her parents, Carol and Michael Middleton, built their fortune through hard work, not aristocratic inheritance. They raised their daughter with poise and discretion, traits that would later become her greatest weapons in a world obsessed with scandal. But from the very beginning, Kate understood the silent codes of the crown. She didn't charge into the spotlight. She waited, strategically, patiently. As the relationship with William deepened, she remained silent through whispers, taunts, and endless paparazzi hunts. The tabloids called her Waitikati, mocking her restraint. But what they failed to see was that patience was her power. While others scrambled for attention, Kate stood still, and in doing so, she commanded it. She learned the choreography of palace life without demanding a lead role. And when the world did look her way, she never flinched. Her public image was sculpted not through royal decree, but through consistency. While scandals erupted around her affairs, feuds, leaks, Kate remained untouched. Not because she hid from the fire, but because she refused to feed it. Her loyalty to William, her commitment to her children, and her almost surgical calm under pressure created a portrait of modern royalty that the public hadn't seen since Diana. And that's where the comparisons began. Not because Kate tried to emulate Diana, but because her authenticity echoed something people feared they had lost. Compassion without performance. Elegance without arrogance. Presence without dominance. That quiet strength made people lean in. But behind the scenes, something else was happening. Something the public wasn't supposed to know. Kate wasn't just adapting, she was being shaped. Sources close to the palace now reveal that Queen Elizabeth herself took a subtle but deliberate interest in her future granddaughter-in-law's preparation. Private meetings, confidential briefings, invitations to observe, to learn, and eventually to lead. And it wasn't just the Queen. Prince Philip, a man known for his no-nonsense demeanor and unshakable loyalty to duty, reportedly saw in Kate the same resilience he had admired in the Queen. He once confided to an aide that she gets it. No elaboration, no praise, just those 3 words. But in royal circles, that was enough. What emerged from that invisible tutelage was not just a duchess or a princess, but a woman silently being prepared for the unimaginable weight of a crown. And now, that weight is shifting. Kate isn't just accepted, she's desired. By the people, by the system, even by the history that once resisted her. But every crown has rivals, and behind the palace gates, 2 queens now walk the same corridors. There can only be one queen, and behind every photo op, there's a silent battle raging between the past and the future. For decades, Camilla fought for space within a monarchy that never truly welcomed her. From the moment her relationship with Charles was dragged into public view, she was branded the villain of a love story. The world never stopped grieving, even after she became Duchess of Cornwall, and later, Queen Consort. That shadow clung to her title. It wasn't about royal protocol, it was about perception. And perception is the one thing Camilla could never fully control. The ghost of Diana lingered in every headline, every whisper, every cold stare from the crowd. She endured, she rebranded, but she never conquered. Then came Kate. At first, it seemed harmless. Camilla had the crown. Kate had the charm. 2 women fulfilling their roles in the royal machine. But something shifted the moment Queen Elizabeth passed. The monarchy began recalibrating, and so did public allegiance. Camilla, once reluctantly accepted, began to fade into the background. And Kate? She surged forward. Palace insiders now describe a divide among senior aides, some still loyal to Camilla out of tradition, others rallying behind Kate as the future of the monarchy. The tension isn't explosive, but it is unmistakable. Meetings held separately, courtiers instructed to avoid overlapping media schedules, a quiet distancing that speaks volumes. And then came the moment Camilla couldn't ignore. Sources claim that after hearing of the alleged private crown rehearsal for Kate, reportedly backed by the House of Lords, Camilla was not only blindsided, but emotionally shaken. Though the palace refused to confirm or deny the event, Camilla's noticeable absence from the public eye shortly afterward was telling. Those close to her suggest she felt betrayed not by Kate, but by the institution she had defended for years. A crown rehearsal may be symbolic, but to Camilla it was a message. The monarchy had already chosen its next queen, not by law, but by love. Meanwhile, the media made its own choice. Coverage once dominated by Camilla's titles and duties now leans heavily toward Kate's appearances, her speeches, her growing influence. Fashion columns, diplomatic visits, charity campaigns. Kate's presence commands the front page, while Camilla quietly retreats to the second. Even international outlets now speak of Queen Kate as an inevitability rather than speculation. In the battle for the crown, coverage is currency, and Camilla is losing that war, one headline at a time. At its core, this isn't just a personal conflict, it's a battle of legacy. Charles and Camilla represent endurance. They fought for their union, survived scandal, and took their place on the throne. But William and Kate symbolize rebirth, a fresh monarchy, a bridge between past pain and future hope. And as the next generation steps forward, the lines are no longer blurred. The stage is set. Two queens stand in the same palace, but only one walks toward history. But while the palace debates, the public has already made up its mind. They call her our queen, not because of protocol, but because she's earned it. Across continents, cultures, and generations, one truth has emerged, not declared by decree, but by collective will. Kate Middleton has become the monarch the people chose. The royal titles may be slow to catch up, but the world already sees her for what she is. She didn't inherit the throne. She rose to meet it. And now, from London to Lagos, Sydney to Singapore, she is known not just as the Princess of Wales, but as queen in everything but name. The numbers are impossible to ignore. Global polls consistently place her as the most admired member of the royal family. By margins so wide, they've rattled the palace. Among Britons, she surpasses even Prince William in favorability. Among younger generations, who have long questioned the monarchy's relevance, she stands as its last glowing thread of connection. Her approval ratings dwarf those of Queen Camilla, outpace even the nostalgic sentiment for Prince Harry, and echo something far deeper than popularity. They signal trust. That trust wasn't demanded, it was earned. When Queen Elizabeth passed, the monarchy trembled. A pillar had fallen, and the family was raw, exposed, vulnerable. But amid the sea of sorrow and shifting allegiances, it was Kate who held steady. She carried herself not as someone mourning privately, but as someone holding a nation's grief in her hands. Her composure, her presence, her silent strength. None of it scripted, all of it seen. And in those moments, people recognized something familiar, something royal. Then came the chaos, the bombshell interviews, the whispers of betrayal, the Sussex headlines that consumed global media. And still, Kate said nothing. No retaliation, no counterattack, no desperate grasp for attention. She didn't need to. Her silence became her sword. While the family fractured in public, she became the quiet anchor. To many, it felt like watching Diana's legacy reinterpreted not through emotion, but through poise. Kate didn't fight for sympathy. She radiated stability, and the world responded. Online petitions began surfacing, demanding she be officially recognized as Queen Catherine, regardless of Charles's reign. Thousands signed within hours. Social media swelled with tributes and titles long before Parliament ever considered them. In memes, messages, and movements, the people crowned her themselves. Even charities and advocacy groups, especially in mental health and early childhood development, have pivoted their branding to center her influence, not just her royal affiliation. The message is clear. This is the woman who defines the crown now. Among the youth, where the monarchy once struggled to gain relevance, Kate has become unexpectedly iconic. She isn't loud. She isn't performative. She's deliberate, thoughtful, and in an age of overstimulation, that restraint has become her rebellion and her resonance. So when people say, "Our Queen," they're not misusing a title. They're declaring allegiance to grace over scandal, to quiet power over spectacle, to a woman who stepped into history, not by force, but by example. But it's not just hearts she's winning. It's also influence, diplomacy, and soft power across the globe. From Buckingham Palace to the White House, Kate Middleton is now the face of Britain's modern monarchy. She doesn't shout. She doesn't demand. But when Kate Middleton enters a room in Nairobi or Washington, the tone shifts. Conversations turn, cameras roll, and heads of state lean in, not for protocol, but for presence. In an age where diplomacy often feels performative, Kate's influence is defined by something far more enduring: restraint, elegance, and a quiet command that transcends ceremony. While monarchies across the globe struggle to remain relevant, Kate has become the crown's greatest export. Britain's unspoken ambassador, reshaping the world's perception of royal power without ever needing to raise her voice. Her diplomatic reach is far from symbolic. On her tours of the Commonwealth, Australia, Jamaica, Canada, she has walked a political tightrope with precision. Where past royals stumbled into controversy, Kate has mastered the art of soft diplomacy. She listens more than she speaks. She honors more than she insists. And in countries questioning their allegiance to the crown, her visits have become not just ceremonial, but pivotal. Local leaders speak of her humility. Citizens, once apathetic to royalty, rally at her presence. She doesn't just represent Britain, she redefines it. And yet her power extends beyond borders. In the United States, a country famously divorced from monarchy, Kate has managed the unthinkable. Admiration without obligation. Her trip to Boston for the Earthshot Prize wasn't just another royal tour. It was a masterclass in global influence. No scandals, no missteps, no vanity. Just focus on climate, on innovation, on impact. American media, which often thrives on royal dysfunction, called her visit flawless, not because of fashion or formality, but because she brought substance. That substance shows in her initiatives, too. Early childhood development, mental health advocacy, these aren't pet projects, they're platforms. And they're gaining traction internationally. Collaborations with UNICEF, WHO, and regional partners signal a growing recognition of her leadership beyond British soil. Her work is measured, data-driven, future-focused, and in an institution long criticized for being outdated. Kate is the unrewriting its purpose. Diplomats now speak of Kate's effect, a quiet influence that shifts narratives without confrontation. She isn't just meeting with leaders, she's changing the tone of the monarchy's global engagement. While others dominate headlines for the wrong reasons, she continues building alliances behind closed doors. The kind of diplomacy that doesn't trend, but endures. In global circles, she's no longer compared to Queen Letizia of Spain or Queen Maxima of the Netherlands. She's seen as the model they all admire. Not because she's flashier, but because she's steadier. Kate is the embodiment of stability in an unstable world. The monarchy's most compelling answer to a future it didn't plan for, but must now navigate. But how much longer can the palace keep this a secret? Or is this all part of a carefully crafted royal transition? Behind the golden jewels, the monarchy is quietly rewriting its future. And Kate might already be the key. The grandeur of Buckingham Palace often distracts from the undercurrents of strategy running through its walls. But lately those currents have turned into quiet waves, rippling not through royal fanfare, but through whispered meetings and closed door discussions inside the House of Lords. According to sources with direct access to high-level deliberations, the question isn't whether Kate Middleton will become queen. It's whether the monarchy can afford to wait any longer. Parliament, long viewed as a ceremonial observer in royal matters, is now stepping closer to the throne than ever before, not to challenge it, but to safeguard it. And their chosen stabilizing figure, not Charles, not Camilla, but Kate. As king, Charles battles growing health concerns and dwindling public trust. Insiders say he has begun pressing for clarity in succession, seeking written assurances and constitutional guidelines that would allow for a smoother, more controlled transition. It's not abdication, at least not yet, but it is preparation, the kind that only happens when doubt begins to eclipse duty. And in those backroom conversations, one name keeps reappearing. Not because of birthright, but because of belief. Kate has become the monarchy's contingency plan, and possibly its only chance at survival. Meanwhile, William has remained publicly unwavering. Every speech, every appearance beside Kate, reinforces a united front. But those close to the couple know the stakes are higher than ever. His support is not just personal, It's strategic. Because as whispers grow about Camilla's discomfort with the shifting spotlight, William's actions speak volumes. He's not shielding Kate from the crown's weight. He's lifting it with her. For better or worse, they are presenting themselves as a two-part solution to a fractured institution. And Camilla? The silence speaks louder than any official statement. Behind the scenes, royal aides say she has taken the shift in dynamics personally. After decades of controversy, she believed she had finally secured her place. But the recent pivot toward Kate has left her reportedly stunned and in moments deeply emotional. The palace hasn't commented and likely never will. But the signs are clear. Her public schedule has diminished. Her influence, once growing, is being gently eclipsed. At the heart of this evolution is Parliament's increasingly assertive role. In a modern monarchy where symbolic power holds more sway than actual governance, perception is everything. And legislators know that Kate carries that perception better than anyone. She bridges the monarchy's past with its future. A modern queen, not in law, but in impact. And that's exactly what a kingdom in transition needs. This isn't a formal succession plan, it's a silent one, drafted not in ink, but in alliances, impressions, and expectations. The monarchy doesn't need a proclamation to change course. It only needs momentum. And right now, that momentum is building fast toward a future where tradition bows not to rebellion, but to evolution. Which leads us to the ultimate question. Not if Kate will be queen, but when the world will be allowed to see it. This isn't just a change in title, it's a change in era. And Kate Middleton stands at the throne's edge, ready. The crown was never officially passed. No trumpet sounded. No formal decree echoed across the palace walls. And yet the shift has already taken place. From the hushed whispers of a secret crowning in the House of Lords, to the surging wave of public devotion, to the silent endorsement by those closest to the throne. Kate Middleton has crossed a line that cannot be uncrossed. The monarchy hasn't just accepted her, it's begun reshaping itself around her. The queen consort holds the title, but the world has crowned someone else. And unlike every queen before her, Kate didn't ascend through entitlement. She rose through example. What began as a symbolic moment, away from the cameras and buried beneath layers of tradition, now stands as the quiet ignition of a royal transformation. Parliament may never officially confirm it. The palace will likely never speak it aloud. But in the corridors of power and the court of public opinion, a message has been delivered. Kate isn't waiting for a crown. She's wearing it in everything. But name. The public sees her as their monarch already, and behind the walls of royal strategy, there is no going back. Across continents, that readiness is palpable. The Commonwealth isn't just familiar with Kate. They're invested in her. In Canada, she's viewed as the face of dignity. In Australia, a symbol of stability. In the United States, where monarchies are mocked and dissected, Kate has somehow captured admiration without compromise. Her global presence has outgrown her title. And in doing so, she has laid the foundation for something the royal family hasn't had in generations. Universal appeal without scandal. Influence without force. But what makes her truly historic is that she is shaping her legacy before ever ascending the throne. Her work in early childhood education, mental health, and modernizing royal duties has created a blueprint for what the monarchy can become, a platform for progress, rather than a museum of tradition. Her choices reflect not just refinement, but resolve. She's carved a role where compassion and command coexist, where royal duty doesn't mean emotional distance. She has redefined power, not as presence, but as impact. And that, perhaps, is the most revolutionary part of her rise. For the first time in centuries, the monarchy is no longer leading the people. The people are leading the monarchy. They've chosen her. Not because of bloodline or history books, but because of who she's become in the face of chaos, scrutiny, and silence. They didn't wait for ceremony. They didn't need a crown to know. They saw in Kate the woman fit to lead, not just a family, but a nation through empathy, grace, and unshakable strength. So this isn't the conclusion of her story. It's the prologue to a reign already in motion. Because whether the palace is ready or not, Kate Middleton's legacy as the real queen has already begun. Drop your thoughts in the comments section. Thanks for watching, and don't forget to like and subscribe. And we will see you in the next one.